I'll be there when you call.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll be there when you fall.
I'm in the studio
To pick you up,
right now
to lift you
with
up.
a water in my hand.
Hey y'all, welcome back. It is another week in the YNW MELLY trial, and we will be covering the first 2 days that have gone by. And Monday, there was some interesting things that happened, and today it was kind of mellow. They had one witness, I think it's their last witness, testify. It was the man who is testifying to the messages in Melly's phone. Basically, they're trying to attribute the phone to Melly. So we're gonna look at some testimony today, and I appreciate all you guys' love, all you guys' feedback on the first video. I only want to get better, and so let's do it. So this is the friend of YNW Melly, YNW Sack Chaser, YNW Juvie, and he is being put on the stand by the prosecution. This witness has a little bit of funny story. So he was originally subpoenaed, and he made himself unavailable. He was not showing up to court. And then all of a sudden he decided to appear, and the defense says that it was because he saw he's been watching the trial, and he's been, seeing his name and stuff come up. And so he's been hearing his name come up and come up and come up. So he decided to make himself available and actually testify about, I guess, what he saw. I haven't listened to a lot of stuff about what he says. I know the headline says that he confirmed that he changed clothes on the night of the deadly double murder. So we're gonna see what he talks about. Now let's talk about the rights that, and the defense actually rose this up, like they made this problem, or they made this issue with the prosecution, and they questioned the judge about it, and they were saying basically, so they rose the issue of the violation of Rule 615 of the Federal Rules of Evidence, which is the rule of sequestration. And it basically states that a witness cannot hear, at the party's request, a witness cannot hear another's witness testimony before they testify, because it creates bias, and it could possibly tailor the said witness. It could tailor their testimony to kind of match the testimony of another one, which they were arguing that's exactly what is happening here. And I tend to agree with them, because like he even admitted in his own deposition that he has been watching the YouTube trials. He understands like that his name has been said and this and that. But if you've been watching the YouTube trials and you've heard testimony of other witnesses, and therefore your testimony is just as if you were sitting in court listening or watching the trial, which typically you're not allowed to do. If you're a witness and you sit there and you watch other witnesses testify, that violates the sequestration rule. So I'm not surprised if that will be another grounds for appeal. They've had the defense have raised many issues for grounds for appeal, and that's included, when the prosecutor, she read into evidence something that was not supposed to be read into evidence. The jury heard it. It could create bias. That's probably the top issue here, like as far as them, having a grounds for appeal. Here's another issue. This violates the defendant's right to a fair trial. In my opinion, I'm not really sure why the judge would have allowed this friend to testify after knowing that he's basically watched the whole trial on YouTube. And that's the thing about YouTube trials or trials that have been publicized to all over the world, you know, it creates a lot of bias. People have their own opinions. People don't. Some people have their own opinions, and they're well, educated on the case. They've been watching the case. They've been following the case. Some people just watch 10 minutes of a video and like, oh yeah, he's guilty. Oh no, he's not guilty. So, you know, you have to really be careful about what you allow in the courtroom. And the judge, in my opinion, it's a lot of stuff that he's allowing, and I don't know if it's going to fly on appeal if if the verdict doesn't go in Melly's favor. So let's get to what this witness said.
What were you doing at the house?
Still grieving.
Okay. Who took you to
Now you can tell he's kind of like hiding behind the computer
The cameraman.
because he knows the camera's watching him.
True.
Right. And do you recall who took you from the hospital to Frito's house?
Same person.
Alright. And before you left for the hospital, or actually who went to the hospital with you?
Just true.
Okay. Who was at the house, Melly's house, before you left for the hospital?
Same people that was there when we got there.
Okay. And same people being the 4 people that entered the Mitsubishi?
Yes.
Now you can tell that he's there to testify, but is he really there to testify? You know what I'm saying? Because like he's being very just withdrawn. He's not really going into details about what the prosecutor is asking him. This is their own witness. This is not the defense witness. So the prosecutor brought him in here obviously because they wanted the jury to hear what he has to say, and he's sitting here saying they asked him, you know, who was at the house, and he's like, the people that was at the house. I mean, come on.
So you're at Frito's house. You mentioned,
And she keeps saying it's Frito, and it's Fredo Bang, but
Did
okay.
you say where you were?
True was wrong.
Oh, no, not Melly's house. Frito's house. Where were you in Frito's house?
Outside.
Okay. And who was at Frito's house when you first got there?
Everybody that was in the house.
Okay. And it's because I don't know who everybody was or is, can you please specify?
Kobe, Melly. People I can remember.
Okay. Was that the first time you saw Melly after you guys left the studio?
Yeah.
Was Melly wearing the same clothes or different clothes than when you saw him at the studio?
It was a little bit. Nah, he wasn't.
Nah, he wasn't. You guys
Wasn't wearing the same clothes.
Okay. Do you recall what he was wearing?
What it's like to be a Fairfax egg bank.
Of course we get an ad.
You can receive up to $48,000 as an egg donor.
Just had on some shorts.
So he says there that the first time he saw Melly after the murders that he had on some shorts. But if you've watched the previous video that we keep referring to throughout this whole trial, Melly had on like a jacket. It was kind of like a jean jacket with some writing on the back, some jeans, and a little man satchel with his hair pulled back. So obviously it's insinuating that he changed clothes and now he just has on shorts. But I mean, in the defense of that, you know, it's like probably, let's say, from that video to where he's talking about, it's like 10, maybe 9, 10 hours later. So it's in the middle of the night, or morning, early morning. I'm sure he doesn't have on the same clothes that he has on from when he left the studio.
And how long did you stay at Frito Bane's house?
I don't know.
Right. Minutes, hours, days?
Could be minutes, could be hours.
Okay. So not days.
Not even a day.
Okay. And so when you got to Frito's house, was it light or dark outside?
It's like
And you previously said yourself and Melly and someone else was at Frito's house. Was Frito there as well?
I think I did see him. I don't remember.
Okay. What happens while you're there? Like you're there, you're outside, what happened?
Grieving.
Okay, and you're grieving, are you grieving alone?
Yes.
Are you at the house, at any point in time, do more people come to the house, or do people leave the house?
If they did come, I don't know. I was back.
Okay,
I was back at free.
at any point in time. Did
So
Melody
if you can tell, she's asking, she's trying to get him to say that Melly left the house and that he came back. He's saying, I don't know who left the house. I was back out. I was outside in the back, I guess like a backyard patio, grieving. He just lost his 2 friends. He's back there probably crying it up, not paying attention to who's in and out of the house. That's what he's saying.
It came to a point when I was living by myself.
Alright,
So there, he confirms that it came to a point where he was there at the house alone. So he just basically said everybody left except for him.
The people that you previously said were there were no longer there, correct?
Right.
And so do you know where they went during that time?
I don't.
Alright, and we're still talking about October 26th of 2018, correct?
Yes.
And this would be shortly after the hospital?
Yes.
Alright, at some point does Melody come back to Rio's house?
Around this time, I'm still grieving and getting a little. I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Melody comes back,
Yeah, I guess they did come back.
right?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, and at some point, does Melody leave again?
Yeah, I guess it's not a yes, he did. Let's define that. Yeah, I guess in court is not a yes, he came back. Yeah, I guess has doubt. You don't know whether he came back or not. Even if he did come back, I'm not sure what the prosecutor is trying to say. Like, what's the point in her line of questioning?
Anything farther out of that?
Alright,
We grieving. That was the last thing I heard was we grieving. Nothing different.
alright. So before you end up in prison, if I were to show you a statement, would that refresh your recollection as to Melody leaving and coming back a second time?
I suppose so.
So here she's saying, okay, since you don't remember, can I show you your previous statement that you made probably 3 years ago, and to refresh your recollection on what you said occurred? And he's like, yeah, make sure. So he's going to look at it. I'm sure he's going to look at it. Then she's going to say, now, do you remember? She's going to ask him the same thing over, do you remember who left the house when they came back? Whatever.
I want permission to show him his statement again. If you can take a look, you can start.
So he's watching. He's reviewing the document. It's his prior statement. Now, she can't get this statement into evidence if he doesn't authenticate it, or if he doesn't testify to it. So that's why she's trying to get him to remember, what happened, because she can't just be like, here, your statement's right here, publish it to the jury. She can't do that.
Are you done? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Somewhat.
Okay, so tell us if you
Somewhat, not yes.
I just did.
I still remember the same thing.
You recall, you said you weren't sure, you went to Gifford, and then I asked you if your statement would refresh your recollection. Does your statement refresh your recollection as to whether Melody left again?
I'm not sure they left. I was grieving.
Okay,
I'm not sure what nobody.
He's
did.
not sure.
alright,
This is just, y'all, let me explain something. This is just all a waste of time. If this witness is not going to cooperate to what you're trying to put in the jury's mind, like, this is what got them in trouble the first time. The witness, I think it was YNW's ex-girlfriend's mother. She would not say that she recalled anything. Child, she forgot. She didn't know her number. She didn't know her daughter number from 2018. She didn't know her number, her daughter number, Millie number. She didn't remember what happened. She didn't remember nothing. You hear me? And when they kept trying to badger her into saying, oh, yeah, I do remember now. And she was not letting up. So they just kept threatening her with like perjury charges and all of this. Basically, they were subtly threatening her. And they advised her that she needed to speak to her lawyer and all of this. And basically that's like threatening a witness. And so she's like, she was not budging. And here he's a little bit more, you know, lenient with the state than she was. She was not having it. Like, she knew, it seemed like her lawyer had prepped her to testify.
I pointed out to you someone was the person that was wearing the jacket that you identified as Melly was carrying something across his side or his back on the video. Do you recall seeing that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall what that's referred to? Okay. Can it also be commonly?
So she's talking about the little bag that I was referring to earlier that Millie had on in the video of them leaving the studio. Now right here she's about to say he just called it a satchel, and she's about to call it a man purse or something like that, a man bag, and they're going to object to it because a counsel cannot testify. Meaning the attorney cannot testify. Whatever the attorney is asking in the line of question, that is not evidence. What is evidence is what the witnesses testify to. So you can't, so it's like me saying, okay, if this was the soda. And I say, okay, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's a soda. And then she said, okay, in other words, it's a pop. No, he just said he calls it a soda. You can't testify for him.
Objection. Stay.
Are you familiar with the term man?
Objection.
You can't even do that. It's like, what don't you understand, lady? You can't bring it into evidence yourself. He has to open up the door. Your direct examination is totally different from cross-examination. If you watched my last video, you're aware of that now. But it's some ins and outs, definitely. Oh, they're going sidebar, of course.
Did you see that satchel again?
So now she comes back and refers to it as satchel. Like, for one part, one thing that I have an issue with is you just had to do a 30-second sidebar because you just won't call it a satchel instead of trying to testify to it in your own words. Like, just give it a break, ma'am. If that's what he referred to it as, a satchel, just call it a satchel. I don't know if they trying to call it a man purse, a man bag, because she never got the full word out. The defense was on it. I don't know if they're trying to call it that because maybe somewhere later on in like a text message or something that's referred to as that. I don't know. But it was weird to me that she just kept, pestering that word. Like,
Do you recall seeing anyone else with a satchel that night at the studio?
It's 5 years ago, I don't recall.
Okay. Is there anything that can refresh your recollection as to whether or not anybody else was wearing a satchel?
here she goes again.
I suppose so.
If I were to show you the video again, does that refresh your recollection?
So she's gonna show him the video again, and he's gonna say that one of the decedents was wearing one as well. Here's the video for everybody who keeps wondering about what video I'm referring to. Oh, they skipped a little bit, but let me see if I can catch it. Okay. Oh, let's see. They're going pretty fast. Oh, I know what I can do. This is Melly. That's the jacket I was referring to, his jeans, and the satchel that they're talking about right here. Now, I don't see nobody else with a satchel in this little part. Let's see if somebody else. Oh, somebody else comes back out with the satchel right there. Him too. Look like. Okay, so let's go back to normal speed.
Publishing stage 7 at 2:19:01.
So this person right here has a satchel. Looks like I think that's Christopher Williams, aka YNW Juvie. Let me just refer to them by their first name. I know one is named Anthony and one is named Christopher. I think I get the last names mixed up, but Christopher, that's Christopher in the front. I think, and that's Juvie, aka Juvie. And then I think, I may be wrong, but that might be Anthony. Anthony is a darker skin tone, and Anthony is sack chaser. So Christopher, as you can tell, gets in the back passenger seat. The two people that were killed were here and here. Allegedly, Melly was there. He did get in that side leaving the studios, but the shooting didn't occur till about 40 minutes after they left the studios. So we don't know if he was still in the car. They still have not proven it.
I'm going to pause at 2:19:13. Does the video refresh your recollection as to anyone else that was carrying a satchel?
Yes.
Who, if anyone, is carrying a satchel?
I see Chris for one.
And that's Christopher Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm assuming, I don't know which one they refer to as Christopher Thomas, but I think they were talking about the one that got in the car with
Did
Miller.
you ever have any business relationship with a person referred to as Track?
No,
Okay. Do you know who Track is?
not really.
Not really, or?
So come on, y'all. Track is Melly's manager. He's one of Melly's close friends. Melly is a celebrity artist. He knows who Track is. Track is probably around them all the time. But she asked first that has he had any business relations with him, and he's like, no. And she's like, do you know who Track is? And he's like, yeah, a little bit. And then he's like, I know of him, but I don't know him. I'm sure he knows him very well.
Don't know. No.
So they're trying to eliminate the fact that Track was anywhere around this crime, because I think the defense was insinuating that Track could have had the phone, because the phone, they're trying to pinpoint it was Melly by using the phone. And the defense is saying, well, Melly isn't the only one that uses the phone. Track uses the phone. Other artists use the phone. Melly uses the phone, yes, primarily, but other people use the phone as well on a regular basis. So that's why she asked that. Because if he didn't see, Track at any point during that day, then, it kind of leaves the question, well, how come Track has even been, his name has even been called? So this video is going to show a video of YNW Melly saying he's going to turn himself in. Y'all, I have not watched this, but I read the caption. And it seems like this is a sidebar or a motion to eliminate away from the jury. So the jury did not see this video. I'm guessing it wasn't admitted into evidence. But let's see what the defense is arguing and what the state is arguing. The state wants to present it to the jury. The defense is arguing to keep it out of evidence. So let's see, and I'm going to kind of break it down, their basis for the arguments.
There's an additional individual. First of all, I just wanted to crystallize our position that if they're putting in 530 photos to establish that it's his phone, adding another 20-something videos doesn't move the ball. It's cumulative and should be excluded. We object on those grounds.
Okay, so obviously it sounds like the prosecution is trying to admit the video because it's on the phone of Melly. That's allegedly Melly's, and prescribed to Melly. And they're trying to say, okay, we're not offering it to show that he wanted to turn himself in. We're offering it to show that this is his phone. So the defense is like, hold on. Y'all have already admitted 500 some odd photos into evidence to show that this is his phone. There's no need to bring in 20 more videos, including this one. So it's trying to the prosecution is trying to play a game here. They're trying to wiggle it in, and so then the jury can go through it, and they're gonna have access to all of this, so they can go through it as much as they like when they're in deliberations, and then see this video of him saying, "Oh, I'm gonna turn myself in. I'm gonna turn myself in." No, that's more prejudicial than it is probative at this point, because the probative matter would be that this is his phone. It's not going to move the needle. That's what the defense was saying about the Boeing thing. It's not going to move the needle to it being more or less probative that was his phone. It's only going to create more prejudicial bias. And so I think the judge was correct for not allowing this evidence in, because it's relative in terms of what the state is trying to prove, but you've already have enough evidence to prove it without this prejudicial content. So Rule 403 is the rule I was basically just explaining to you guys. It's saying that a judge can disallow content to come in if it is more prejudicial over probative, even if it's relevant. Just because it's relevant, they don't have to allow it in. And relevancy is a big think of it as a big gate. We're gonna let all the evidence in. That's 401 rule of evidence. 401 relevancy. Almost anything can be relevant. There's very little things that would be offered into evidence that are irrelevant, because people know not to play those games. I'm not going to sit here and waste anybody's time trying to offer irrelevant evidence. Now, sometimes the prosecutor tries to get stuff in like that, but most times it's relevant to the matter. So that's 401. Then you have 403, which closes it a little bit more. And it's saying, relevant evidence can be admitted, will be admitted. However, if it's more prejudicial than it is probative, substantially more prejudicial than it is probative, the judge can decide whether it is allowed in or not. So he could have easily said, no, I think, this can be allowed in. I don't think it's prejudicial enough, or, I think it's more probative than it is prejudicial. But obviously, that's blatant. Come on.
And I don't want any of the jurors who might be of that race to form a negative impression.
Oh, okay. So I think in this video, or one of the videos, YNW Melly referred to somebody. Let's go back. It was a racial term. I don't know if it was the C word or the N word. Let's go back.
Form a negative impression. And be predators who might be of that race.
Yeah. So he must have been calling a Caucasian the C word in one of those videos. And they're saying that, he said this in one of the videos. I don't want anybody that's of that race to hear that, and form some kind of bias against him because he said that. Because that's not the issue we're here for. That's not the reason he's on trial. He's on trial for whether he killed his two best friends, not whether he's a racist or use racial terms.
Any of the jurors who might be of that race to form a negative impression and be prejudiced in their assessment for the sake of proving that Mr. Demons owns a phone that they've already seen 530 photos of.
Right.
With regards to that last video that counsel is taking issue with, this is the absolute last video or audio file that is on his phone before the defendant turns himself in, and he does use that term. However, I think in the totality of the circumstances, it is more probative than prejudicial.
How is it? Y'all might can tell, like, I'm a little I don't know, you can form your own opinion about my biases, but I'm not biased, I don't think, against the prosecutor, because actually I intern for a prosecutor now. But I can say I do like defense work better. I know I'll be a defense attorney versus being a prosecutor. I want to be both, to get both sides of the story, like both sides of the experience. But my career, I wanted to be in defense work. And it's just like, ma'am, no, that's not more probative. How is it more probative? Well, I guess she's saying because he's saying she's basically trying to treat it as a confession, which she's not. The whole purpose she said this was for is to prove that it's his phone. But you just said there, I think she's trying to treat it as like kind of a confession. Oh, he knew he was in trouble. You know, he knew what the right thing to do was. But I don't think. Well, obviously the judge is not going for it. Wait, let's go back because I heard it.
Prior to his arrest and booking and showing that he was turning himself in, which was observed in testimony about that was brought in from the defense with regards to Deputy Nakoff, who did the booking prints in this case.
We'll stipulate that he used the phone in that day to avoid the potential prejudice of people standing jurors on the racial majority.
This judge, I like this judge, y'all. Melly, bro, he's in a suitcase. Why is he like this, bro? Like, I can't take him serious. It's not funny, but it is. He's in a suitcase saying, my name is Melly, and I need to turn myself in. Bro, like, this is a serious matter. You're about to be arrested for a double homicide. Come on. And then he says these C words are arresting me.
Just to be clear, there has been numerous other inflammatory, racially motivated terminology and language that has been used, and there's been no objection on that front.
So she's saying basically that he said the N-word in probably a lot of other videos, and he didn't object to that. He's in the defense, didn't object to that. Well, he's black, so if he said the N-word, I'm sure. I mean, even a black person might find it offensive, but he's black, so it's not like it's basically like saying a white man. They're trying to say that he's black, so when he uses the N-word, that should be offensive too. But no, the defense is saying that's basically like saying a white man saying the N-word in a video. Well, obviously, if that video is shown to the jury, then some people of color may take issue with that, you know, and form their own prejudicial bias about the person rather than did he commit the crime. And it's essentially the same thing that's happened here because he's black and he's referring to white people in a derogatory way.
Alright, so regarding the one with the presumably under 13-year-old child on the video, just hold that until I can see what the CFR say. It helps the jury regarding the last video where the majority term used crackers. Just go ahead and leave it.
So the county commission is second.
So it seems as if he instructed her to just delete the portion that refers to whites as the C words. And that's kind of I don't know. So we'll see if that comes up in court. I thought that he was going to basically disallow the whole thing. Okay, so this is gonna be our last video of today, and this is another clip from today's trial that I think this is said to be the prosecution's last witness. That's what the rumor is. So we'll see. I haven't seen where they said that, but I guess some people have. And this is Detective Mark Moretti or something like that, and he basically was the lead detective, I'm assuming. And this is a video of him after he came across a music video that was shot a few days, or it was released a few days after the murder. I think it was shot on the same day of the murder. We're gonna see. Let's get into it.
Yes,
And what was it that you did?
it was a video that was obtained through open source
the disc that we produced for this case.
Okay, so when she goes up to him and ask him about the disc, do you recognize that? What is that? That is authenticating evidence. That is what she has to do in order to get something to evidence. It has to be authenticated and a whole bunch of other stuff. But he's authenticated because he obviously he either made the video, like he put it on the disc himself, or he's been through it with the prosecution before. He recognizes this as part of his investigation, so he probably initialed it, so it'll be easy for him to identify in court. She's going to ask, is it in the same or similar condition than when you previously saw it, or when you first investigated it, or whatever the case may be. And he's going to be like, yeah, and then it's going to be admitted into evidence if it barring any objection from the defense.
There's a video that Tiffany Slade posted on Facebook Live of the defendant at that location.
And does that video and that disc fairly and accurately represent the video that was posted on Facebook Live on October 26, 2018?
Yes.
This was posted on Facebook Live the same day that the two defendants were murdered. The same day.
Additions or deletions?
No.
Now at this time, the state would request the state's
So they're probably offering this. Let me tell you, when I first saw this headline, I said, I bet you they're offering this to show that he has no remorse for what happened, even if he did it or he didn't do it. He wasn't emotionally upset. He didn't feel any type of way about his two best friends just being shot, cold-blooded murder. And he's videoing a music video. Now, all of that is true. I mean, it's compelling evidence, for someone, like, for example, if my best friend was murdered, cold-blooded, I probably wouldn't be doing lashes the same day. Just saying. But that's me. Melly, we've all seen his demeanor. We've all seen his personality. He's kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. I can't lie. He's very playful. He's very immature, I would say. So everybody reacts to grief differently. Now, on the other hand, that's his job, you guys. He is a music artist. So this video shoot, I'm not sure if, like, in the music world, there's deadlines, if there's things that have to be done on certain days. I don't know, maybe they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this video shoot and they've already paid for it, and the photographer or videographer, this is the only day he can do it in the next 5-10 months. I don't know what the case may be, but that's his job. So just like any other job, if it's an FBI agent or something like that, if he was called to duty calls. Yeah, I can grieve after I get this day of work done. Now that's being a little insensitive, but that's how some people are. Some people, they like to they deal with grief in different ways. For example, going back to the Alex Murdaugh case, if you remember, the judge's son, I think it was, had just died a few days before the trial was supposed to begin. And he said, you know what? This is what helped me take my mind off of it. I'm not going to push this back any longer. Both parties have been waiting to get this trial done. Let's go ahead and start. This was a few days after his son just unexpectedly died. So people deal with grief differently. So you can't really, like, this isn't a type of evidence that points a finger at Millie like, oh, he definitely did it. Because you never know what people do. Like, you never know how people grieve.
States 105.
Is there any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
State's on top of you.
There was no objection to the video.
We've helped thousands of Americans get out of debt. If you're hearing this, you're pre-approved for...
So let's watch the video, because this is my first time seeing it. Tiffany Slade.
Video shoot. Melly is here. And he's wrecking his motherfucking dog. Somebody's dog dead and gone. It's you guys. and walked out the car. My dog was long, rest in peace to my dog. Security guard right on his ass. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with him.
So there's Millie, and he's, you know, doing his music video. And there's Bortland, the co-defendant. So he, if anything, he took the bodies to the hospital. So, I mean, he saw something very gruesome. We don't know for sure if Millie was even there at the scene. Supposedly he was, but they haven't proven it. So, I mean, yeah, his friends died, but did he? I mean, I guess, does it matter if he saw it? Maybe, maybe not. But I would definitely think that Bortland would be like scarred. And she just said Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. Now I can't lie, like Melly is a superstar. Like he has it. Like he has that stardom. He has that energy. He knows, you know, how to turn a crowd up. If you just watch some of his videos, like he's very animated. He can, I don't know if that's, you know, a personality that he can just switch on, and then once the video's done, he switches it off and, you know, resumes to being back his normal self. But I know, you know, that he has that ability to turn a crowd up for real. He's turned up.
The individual over on the left in the...
This is a 45-minute video, y'all.
I don't see him in this screenshot here.
Okay. Have you seen him previously while watching this video
Yes,
at other times? Okay. So at that point, I'll conclude publishing at 3:22. Was this jacket in your evidence at the time that video was taken?
Yes, sir.
Now that jacket is the jacket that Melly was wearing at the video shoot.
No, sir.
So when you're going through these phone records, is everybody saved their full legal name?
No.
Okay. When you're looking through the phone number for the extraction for Mr. Thomas, that 772-713-2341 number that you described, what number is the 9807 number saved as? How is that saved in that phone?
For the 9807, I believe he's listed as Julie.
Okay. And if you're not sure at any point, please don't ask if you need to refer or refresh your recollection, please let me know.
Just repeat the question again.
The 772-713-9807 number. How is that saved in Chris Thomas's phone?
Chris Thomas's phone. I'm not sure about my research on that.
Okay. We're looking at, is there anything about
Okay, so she's trying to say, now the 9807 number is the number that has been ascribed to Melly. So this is what she's trying to say is Melly's phone number. So she's asking him in Chris Thomas's phone, what name is that number saved as? That's what she's asking him. And he's like, oh, I don't recall. Do you have anything that can refresh my memory? And she's like, yeah.
Yes. The text messages.
So she's probably going to show him some investigative paperwork that he did recently not recently, but previously, to refresh his recollection. Because you don't want to just make up a name. Like, you don't want to just say YNW Melly. Because if it wasn't YNW Melly, then you have a problem. You want to be exact.
I'm sorry. Chris Thomas in 9807 is Slim.
Slim, okay. And in the Anthony Williams phone, the 954-248-9081, how does Chris Thomas have been saved?
Chris Thomas has,
If you need to refresh your recollection, I know it's a lot of details.
Chris Thomas has William saved as Smurf.
Smurf. Okay, going to the 9807 phone number. How does the 9807 phone number have Chris Thomas saved in it?
Chris's slave has saved as Slim.
Okay, and that's in the 9807 phone number?
Yes.
Okay. With regards to the 772-713-9807 number, how is the Anthony Williams, the 954-248-9081 saved?
He saved as Twin.
Melly's phone, Christopher Thomas, that's the light skin one, Juvie. He saved as Slim, and Stack Chaser is saved as Twin. That's the dark skin one.
Williams phone extraction with the contacts for that. How is the 772-713-98?
And they're saying, and then likewise in Juvie's, not Juvie, Stack Chaser's phone, Melly's name is saved as Twin.
954-248-9081. How is Christopher Thomas or Juvie saved as?
He has been saved as Spoon.
And when you're looking at Celebrate, does Celebrate translate all the emojis?
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
And when you're the Celebrate instructions for the phone number of 772-713-9807, what name does that phone assign to the owner?
The phone doesn't assign the name. The person assigns the name to the phone.
Okay. And so where does the young Stack Chaser Howard name come from?
It comes from the Apple ID.
And where is that Apple ID on the Facebook account for that young Stack Chaser Howard? For that 772-713-9807 number?
On the Facebook account? It's one of the vanity names as well.
Okay. And what's the other vanity name?
Alright, y'all, we're gonna wrap it up right there. Now, for my next video, I want to actually, I know we're hearing a lot of the prosecution talk, but I want to go over some of the defense's cross-examination before they get into their case. I think they're scheduled to start their case Thursday, so we will see. We just never know when that will occur. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this and got a lot of information out of it. And I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and I will be back with
my wrist, I'm giving out a hand when they ain't need it. I need to stop that shit. I told Ross it's time to pop that shit. It's a one-way train, can't stop this shit. Everybody wanna knock this shit. Yeah, I send out the hate right to the archives. I done really been through some dark clouds. Yeah, I got some people like how we really finna get a shot of